seek not afar for beauty. Lo, it glows in dew-wet grasses all about your feet. These lines are from the Unitarian Universalist hymnal. They speak of beauty that is here and now. They express the heart of Unitarian Universalist faith, which is a deep yes to the sacredness of this earth, our bodies, this life, a paradise found not somewhere else, but here. Such a spirit is reflected in many religious traditions. The Navajo Blessing Way ceremony speaks of walking in beauty, of beauty before us, above us, within us, of beauty all around us. The poet Langston Hughes says, "Beautiful the night sky, beautiful the stars, beautiful too the faces of my people." This spirit directs us to care for the earth, to reverence our own being, and to love each other. The 14th century Sufi poet Hafez writes, "We have not come into this exquisite world to hold ourselves hostage from love, or to confine our wondrous spirits, but to experience ever and ever more deeply our divine courage, freedom, and fire." Hafez is kin to Ephraim of Syria, a 4th century Christian saint Rita Nakashima Brock and I rediscovered while working on our book, Saving Paradise. Ephraim wrote at a time when Christians believed that paradise was not only created on earth once long ago, but also that it is still here. He affirmed paradise as this earth, here and now, even in the midst of injustice, violence, and suffering. The breath of paradise, he said, reaches us with its healing balms. Ephraim was the 4th century's most popular poet. His poetry and hymns were translated into Christianity's many languages and sung everywhere. Here is a morsel of his poetry. Listen. Paradise surrounds the limbs with its many delights, the eyes with its handiwork, the hearing with its sounds, the mouth and nostrils with its tastes and scents. Paradise raised me up as I perceived it. It enriched me as I meditated upon it. It renewed me with all its varied nature. I swam around in its magnificent waves and became so inebriated that I forgot all my sins. Christians in Ephraim's time believed that Jesus had reopened paradise. Genesis said its gates had been closed when Adam and Eve sinned and were banished from the Garden of Eden. But Christian Testament writings said Mary was the new Eve, and her son Jesus was the new Adam. By his birth, teachings, healings, and his resurrection. Notice what is missing from that list. By his birth, teachings, healings, and his resurrection. Jesus opened the gates of paradise to all who wanted to enter it. Human beings were restored to their original home on earth. Their divine gifts were renewed, and they were called to live as citizens of paradise. Through baptism, which was a ritual of immersion into the great river of life that flowed from the Garden of Eden to water all of the earth, Christians began a spiritual journey deeper and deeper into paradise. Paradise was embodied in works of feeding the poor, protecting the vulnerable, healing the sick, teaching the ignorant, celebrating love, and offering nonviolent resistance to oppressive empire. For the early Christians who walked through its gates, paradise permeated this world. It could be tasted, seen, felt, and touched here and now. In researching our book, Rita and I traveled to Italy and Turkey throughout the Mediterranean world to study the art and architecture of first millennium Christianity. We discovered that to enter an early Christian church was to walk into a visual representation of paradise. For example, the floor of Hagia Sophia, the Church of Holy Wisdom in Istanbul, one of Christianity's greatest cathedrals, the floor is a square acre of white marble, and across the white marble there are 4 bands of deep green marble representing the 4 rivers of paradise that are spoken of in the creation story in Genesis. And around the edges of this great expanse of floor are pillars, the tops of which are carved with spiraling leaves. And the pillars support arches on top of arches that support a huge golden dome ringed by windows through which the sunlight flows in and floods the interior space, making patterns on the floor that give the sense that you are standing in a huge grove of trees. Hagia Sophia is just one example of the many early Christian churches in which we saw the 4 rivers of paradise and stood among sanctuary walls covered with vivid mosaics depicting spiraling green vines of grapes and flowers and fruits, and saw animals, turtles, cranes, birds, lions, and the resurrected saints, the ancestors of old, surrounding and standing within the realm of paradise. So that when worshipers gathered, they were in the midst of heaven on earth, here and now. Just to enter the church was to encounter abundant and vibrant life, to drink in the power of earth's beauties, and to experience the love that crossed even the boundary of death. The early church offers us an important vision to consider. It believed that the purpose of religious community was to make paradise tangible. The church did so through struggling for justice, offering mutual care among its members and for those in its community, practicing nonviolence, and performing rituals that trained the senses to be attuned to beauty. Because beauty is what showed you the face of divinity in this world. Ephraim of Syria wrote, "The assembly of saints," that means the people gathered into congregation. That means us. "The assembly of saints," look around, "bears resemblance to paradise." In the church, each day, he said, is plucked the fruit of the one who gives life to all. In it is trodden the cluster of grapes to be the medicine of life. There, manifest and lovely to the eye, are the coveted banquets of the just, who summon us to be their companions.